The ice cube neutrino detector is not simply a passive listening device as presented for the science that they're claiming it to do. It also has the capacity to transmit. There are embedded in the ice what are called digital optical modules, DOMs. They're about the size of a basketball. The array embedded in the ice is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. It is the world's largest telescope. And now, because we have proven that it can transmit, it's the world's largest directed energy weapons system. It is responsible for the earthquakes in Christchurch, New Zealand in 2011 on the front end of the year.
How do you know for a fact that that was responsible for that?
Because I was present and I have gone over this with the pertinent people that I will not be releasing their names.
Okay.
But I was on the team, let's just say, and I've confirmed this.
Well,
I've provided documentation from the actual manufacturer's specs. So this unit was constructed, operated, and maintained by the University of Wisconsin, and just like every other device on the planet, whether you're driving an M1 Abrams tank or operating the ice cube neutrino detector, there's operator's manuals that tell you how things work. Right there in that information, free for everybody to find. I found it myself. I was directed to find it, I'll put it that way, and release this information. And it states very clearly that each one of these DOMs can transmit at 2,047 volts each. So these are currently the facts of life.
how do you know? I mean, how do you? I guess what I'm asking is, how did it even come to your attention that this triggered an earthquake? If you're at the South Pole and New Zealand had an earthquake, I mean, how did you know it came from the South Pole?
Without divulging names,
Without divulging names.
I could only say that it was communicated to me from team members that were present and fully read in at the time that they were aware. And since that time,
At the immediate, like the same day?
oh, absolutely, it was understood
Well, what was said?
that we accidentally hit Christchurch, New Zealand twice when they were trying to fire up this weapon for the first time. That it was friendly fire. It was not on purpose, but it occurred. That the system is designed for that. And it was just friendly fire.
So
incidental.
this is a telescope. That sounds like a. Is it a telescope?
Absolutely, it is a neutrino detector for sure. It can accomplish its primary purpose. It can also transmit and then provide a multifaceted platform for directed energy weapons systems.
Do you have any idea how the earthquake was initiated?
From misfiring the system.
Where
Where were they targeting?
Yes.
I don't know.
Does it go into the earth? Does it go
can-
into the atmosphere?
It can definitely go through the earth. I would consider that it might be able to do stuff in the atmosphere. I haven't heard that statement laid at its feet, but I wouldn't put it past it. I don't want to try to limit the functions of this device by my imagination or experience. I believe that's one of the problems with directed energy weapons is they are not like standard weapons of old where you have a gun and a particular caliber bullet, you pull the trigger and it does one thing. These platforms are way more complex than that. They do a lot of things.
What else do they do?
Excuse me. This system, additionally, in regards to the neutrinos, it detects the neutrinos that are apparently coming off of the new exotic propulsion systems for either off-world UFOs or reverse-engineered stuff on our planet.
What is neutrino?
Neutrino is a near massless particle that goes at, close, or beyond the speed of light. It is so small that it can pass between the electron shell and the nucleus of pretty much every atom on the planet. In the capacity of being detected at the South Pole Station, when the neutrino impacts the nucleus of the water molecule of the ice in the glaciers at the pole, a reaction occurs. The nucleus and the neutrino become destroyed. A muon is created and ejected, and a blue flash of light known as Cherenkov radiation flashes in the ice, and that's what the DOMs, the digital optical modules, are detecting. That's their primary purpose as presented. Now, whether that neutrino comes from a quasar out in space or a exotic propelled engine off of vehicles that aren't being discussed contemporarily, it detects it. thus making it basically an air traffic control center for all non-discussed vehicles on this planet. So just like we have all the other air traffic on the planet and it's being completely observed and attended to, there's just another level of craft on this planet and another level of air traffic control tower that exists. This is that facility.
Detect when a neutrino, which there are trillions of these neutrinos passing through us all the time, they are very small particles that can pass in between the electron shell and the nucleus of an atom. They're that small. So they move at, near, or beyond the speed of light was what we were being told at the time. For all practical purposes, when a neutrino contacts the nucleus of an ice molecule in the ice in Antarctica, a reaction occurs where a blue flash of light comes out and the nucleus and the neutrino are gone, and now there's something called a muon instead. So the detector is actually looking for the blue flash of light in the ice when that occurs. They have 5,160 of what they call DOMs, digital optical modules, that are embedded in the ice. They're about the size of a basketball. This is it's a three-dimensional antenna. Okay, so they have cables going down. On each cable going down, there's DOMs. So there's a whole bunch of these. But now these cables are strewn out from the surface of the ice, going down all over the place. So now you have to picture that all of these balls, these electronic DOMs, are now in a hexagonal array covering 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, embedded in the ice.
Mm-hmm.
So they were telling us initially that this is a receiver, it's a detector. Well, now that we know, as my paperwork shows, each of the DOMs has the ability to transmit at up to 2,047 volts AC. So now you take that number
at the speed of light.
Well, 5,160 volts at whatever speed that is. So you take that ability to transmit. If each DOM has that ability, now you times that times 5,160, and now you're looking at the world's largest three-dimensional phased array transmitting antenna.
Which, man,
that just so happens to be sitting at the southern pole of our planet, which is a giant magnetosphere.
Yep. And if we were using,
but people want to talk about Corey Good, and people want to talk about, alien this and alien, which I don't doubt. Don't get me wrong.
Let's talk about Tesla.
Real. They're all real, right? But I'm a big fan of priorities.
Yeah.
Straight up. I don't doubt that all of this other stuff is going on, but I'm kind of getting sick and tired of when I bring up brass tacks, real, provable problems, that my story gets diluted, that people come running from the woodwork, like Linda Moulton Howe, that maniac.
Yeah.
They come running in and they go, well, what about my secret guy that said this? And you're not saying what he said. Well, I'm not a liar, Linda.
I'm just telling you the facts of what I've seen with my own eyes.
Yeah.
This is what it is. I don't
know any person discussing Antarctica, SSP, anything Oddsville, right? Anything Oddsville. Yeah. You show me anybody that has provided more actionable intelligence than me.
Yeah, exactly. And for everyone that's watching this, what we're getting at, very similar to me and my family's case, having articles, evidence, documentation, etc. He has this. He has tons of videos, his badges, patches from being on the program, pictures. I mean,
there's a directed energy weapons system. At least one. Two, technically. There's two, technically. At least at South Pole. And I'm just letting people know these are the facts of the matter. What do we now do with there are active directed energy weapons systems being played?
If anybody wants to find out more, I have a website where all this information is at. For brevity, I'll wrap it up, but you can go to deciphering.tv. I've documented all of this stuff, and information is available.
Awesome. Thank you.